Good afternoon, everyone.
Good morning, Mr. McClure.
Good morning is about right. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Welcome to the March 2016 membership meeting, the IAC membership meeting. Welcome to everybody. We're going to have a pretty full agenda today. We have lots of things to talk about, but we want to make it an engaging, interactive session as well, so we'll have plenty of time with our speaker and some interaction. It's St. Patrick's Day. Local law enforcement, I might remind you, is out in force. In case you have a little bit too much at the reception next door, on my way over, I was passed by a Fairfax County police car, and on the back was a bumper sticker, and in bright green it said, "If you drink and drive, we'll provide the chasers." So again, happy St. Patrick's Day. Wonderful to see everybody in green. Those of you that are not, I'm sure that will pay the price in some form or fashion. We have a lot to talk about today. As you can see from the agenda, we've got some things just to update you on. We have a wonderful program designed with Jonathan Albaum, the CIO at USDA. I wanted to start the meeting by just showing you this graphic. We really have got a lot of things going on in IAC, and sometimes we lose perspective of it. This infographic, if you've been to the website, actually has this. It shows you the engagement from a full range of members, all kinds of events and activities, our young professionals, our partners program, all the professional development programs. There's just a lot of information there that shows you when you tie all of this together, it's quite an association full of really bubbling activity, and where you can find the thing that you're interested in and the way in which you engage is just limitless. So just thanks to everyone who is really contributing and being part of the membership and actually making it such a great place to be. Since November 2015, we've added 27 new members to IAC. Now I want to ask if any new members are here today, and if you are, please stand up. Great. Be sure and ask one of these folks over for a drink and protect them from the police afterwards. We actually have no deal with Fairfax County Police, so I can't promise you anything. Ted Davies, the current chair, Ken Allen have been doing a lot of reach out, as well as members have been involved in some of these breakfast meetings trying to recruit new members. Very interactive conversations, kind of laying out who we are, what we do. And it's been paying off in dividends because we've seen a lot of great new members come into the organization. We're always open, by the way, new members, to feedback, ideas on how we can do things differently and do it better. So really looking forward to your engagement and kind of being part of this community. Boy, it is a very, very, very eventful spring that we're moving into. In fact, it's pretty exhausting just to look at some of the activities that we have going on, some traditional and some brand new. I want to start off by reminding everybody that the IAC Executive Committee membership is open for nominations to 3 at-large positions. Our Treasury position, Bob Suda has been doing such a great job, is now going to be open as well. And we have a vice chair slot. Since I'll get to assume Ted's job in July, we have to elect a vice chair. So the nominations have been coming in. They are technically closed, but I believe we're, as usual, going to extend it a little bit. You didn't hear that from me. We want, if you're interested in running, you can nominate yourself to the board for a board position, or you can have a group or someone nominate you. We just really were looking for people that are serious about the commitment, the time involvement, and also are really innovative in thinking about doing things with this organization and refreshing new ways. We're always trying to balance the committee. The executive committee is a very engaged group, meets constantly, and is always trying to improve the performance of the organization and making things click. But what we really are looking for in the board is a blending of strategy, vision, and operational excellence. So we always want a mix of people on this board to help us achieve those kinds of outcomes. So again, go to the website if you have a nominee to put in, fill out the quick form. The nominating committee will meet toward the end of this month and put some we'll finalize the people that are going to be up for election in April. In April at the membership meeting, the candidates will make statements, and then I believe the election is is in April or May. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. May. I think it's in May. So once you get on board, those new people will be serving along with the existing committee until starting in July for the next year. So again, just think seriously about that, and we welcome the involvement. All right, so that's really something I wanted to get off at the beginning. We have the Acquisition Excellence Conference coming up on March 22nd. It's at the Grand Hyatt in Washington. Beautiful conference. Jim Williams and Mary Davey have done a great job, along with the program chairs, to put together a very, very exciting agenda on acquisition innovation, looking at government-industry relationship in the acquisition process, how cyber acquisition can work more effectively, and services acquisition in general. Good agenda, opening new ideas, looking for new ways of doing things, and getting to the next stage and accelerating our acquisition in the government. The next Nexus Forum, which was scheduled yesterday, there was something called a Metro event, which forced a little bit of change in schedule. So I think the Nexus Forum is being rescheduled. I don't think a date's been picked yet. I know one's being kicked around, so I won't announce a new date, but it's going to be rescheduled, same place, same agenda, same speakers, and talk about a great session to go to and send some of our young professionals to. It's really focused on looking at career paths, mentorship, how to successfully plan your career, how to be an effective leader. And it's really set up, in a very innovative way with a great kickoff speaker, Randy Tharp from the EOP, combined with some sort of speed dating approaches at tables to talk about how you interact with your boss, how do you have coffee with your boss, what do you talk about. Lots of good conversations with mentors at each table, and then an interesting panel toward the end. So just hats off to Brian Bender and Rachel Glick for really spearheading a lot of this, for Angela and Rachel also for doing so much work on it. I think the Nexus Forums are just absolutely fantastic, and it's good to see things heading in such a rich direction. The CX Summit, Customer Experience Summit, is on April 5th at the Marriott Metro Center, delivering an omni-channel experience through measures that matter. Customer experience is the buzzword right now, and there's certainly lots of activity and digital agendas focusing on the customer experience, so we have a great forum set up on that. There is a FITARA forum on April 13th at the Marriott Renaissance, looking at the maturity model that was created out of the IAC work, looking at a number of proven best practices for CIO management, and unveiling really at this event the measures of impact, which was something that has been pushed by the group that designed the FITARA scorecard, is how do you know whether it's actually working or not. Steve Holden, Steve, are you here? Yeah, Steve is here. He's going to talk a little bit more about it today. Hats off to Steve for helping so diligently with the effort. Richard Spires could not be here today, and Richard, of course, has been the front face of most of the FITARA work. So just, again, great stuff going on. Veterans Hiring Forum on April 21st at the American Institute of the Architects. It's veterans, military spouses, and disabled veterans will be the topic of discussion on how to get jobs in the government, opportunities in industry, hiring and transitioning veterans into the workforce. So great session on how to go about finding, recruiting, and keeping this really important part of our workforce. Igniting Innovation, exciting event. April 25th, that recognizes some of the most innovative use of technologies in the government. The Institute for Innovation started this a few years ago. It's just been a tremendous success. Over 800 people attended this event last year. You literally go around to booths and look at the innovative technology, a demo, if you will, sort of site, and then there will be voting throughout the day and awards given out. It's a very, very exciting event to go to. It's time for management of change. It's hard to believe that it is time for management of change. May 22nd, 24th, registration is open. Very, very cool theme this year, IT at a Crossroads, managing risk through transformation. Topics, sessions on the evolving role of the CIO, looking at strategies for meeting customer expectations, evolving cyber threats, disruptions in government. Do we have disruptions in government? The power of analytics, and of course the solution sprint. So very interactive, very, again, well-planned event, and I think everybody will find it of tremendous value to be there. I have one other mention I want to make about MOC, and that is that nominations are now being accepted for the John J. Franke Award. This is probably one of the most treasured awards in government. It's by your peers. It's for a government leader that's made a difference in their career and has just served as a model leader in the federal government, both through leadership and accomplishments. And I think the nominations are open pretty much till the mid part of April. Again, this is really a highly treasured award, and hopefully you'll think quickly and richly about nominations to put in for this very important award. So, other things that are coming up, which I'm not sure are on here or not. No, okay, go back. There's some other things I just want to tell you about real quick. I've already gone past 5 minutes. I'm trying to talk as fast as I can. I'm from Texas. I speak slow. So, cyber. As you know, we had cyber innovation ideation, a report well received by the CIO and by the CIO Council. There's now some follow-up activities to that report being done by the cyber workforce and acquisition communities of interest. It's looking at a playbook for hiring the cyber workforce, best practices. It's also looking at some acquisition best practices, maybe creating a hallway where we load it up with templates and again, practices and ways to actually do cyber acquisition well. And there is a third area that Tony Scott, the federal CIO, was very interested in, and that's cyber insurance. So there was a group forming to do some more drill down into that area. National Innovation Initiative, NII, which is our trip out to Silicon Valley to actually try to get Silicon Valley companies and venture capital companies engaged with the government, is well underway. Sonny Hashmi from Box, Sonny here today, is actually leading that up, and more to come in terms of activities and follow through. There's a new legacy modernization project that we've been asked to help OMB with, as the expectation is of moving these agencies off of legacy modernization infrastructure into new platforms. Tony Scott would like IAC to come up with best practices on how this is done, real case examples, and at the same time also help OMB think through the old capital planning and investment control process that's used to create and defend IT budgets, which was pretty much created in the 90s when that was vogue, and now we're into agile, now we're into faster transition, and we need some new ways of thinking about justifying investments. So OMB has asked for some assistance both in the legacy modernization and in the CPIC process. Presidential transition papers, have a team working on that, as you know. Scott Gould, the former Deputy Secretary at VA, Sean O'Keefe, former administrator of NASA, are the advisors with Mark Foreman and Roger Baker, sort of the managing directors. There's at least 6-7 topics that are been identified for transition papers for the incoming administration. The idea is to get these done now so that we can give them to the campaigns, those that are left in the campaign, and that they can actually use these to shape their thinking and their agendas as they move closer to the actual election and we move into a transition process to the next administration. Human capital, acquisition, budget, management systems, cyber, innovation. These are the topics that the papers will be focused on. We're obviously going to want to engage as many of you as possible in ideas and in looking at these things to make sure they make sense. There's probably at least 10 other transition papers being put together. We really want the IAC one to shine. There is a community of interest transition has been going smoothly and it's completed. There's 10 COIs in place, communities of interest. We'll be hearing some more about the concept of operations, which has been published. And again, our hope is that the COIs, the communities of interest, actually become very integrated into a lot of the projects that ACT and IACT are actually taking on. We have one other ACT IACT news, and that is John Lee. John, where are you? Stand up. John, let me announce that John is the new Director of Marketing and Communications for ACT IACT. Welcome, John. He's got a lot of experience with a lot of companies. We need a lot of help. So welcome, John. You're going to, I know, fit in quite well and do extremely well for us, so thanks so much. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to some other folks for some updates, and I believe we're going to hear first on membership engagement from Paul and Brian. Both of you.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. So Paul and I both work on the executive committee and work very closely with the industry engagement / membership staff. So April Davis and Casey Harris, who many of you know and work with, they do a fantastic job in reaching out to the members, working through questions and any renewals and membership issues that you may have. But I wanted to highlight some of the things that, you can change the slide, some of the things that we're working on as an organization. This isn't just Paul and I, this is you all as member volunteers as well, and what we're trying to do to make sure industry engagement and our membership engagement is bringing the value you want as a member organization. So first is these meetings, and you'll see I use the term new I'm using air quotes, and there's some up there as well. They're not necessarily new in the point that we're having them. We've had them in the past, but what we're trying to do is bring back some of the things that we've gotten feedback from the members on that have worked in the past, and then also make some additional changes that we hope will bring value going forward. So we want these, so one of the things is we're gonna have fewer of them, but more focused. And I want to thank Mitzi Mead, who also has been working with us a lot on the agenda and the topics that we're going to be covering in these meetings. One is hearing more from the EC members on what we are working on. So thus you'll see that on each of the agendas. The other is really having that key speaker, and us having Jonathan Album today is fantastic to kick off this year, but we want to make sure we have that speaker, that government representative that brings that information and value to you as members as well. So look forward to more of that in the future for the next meetings. I think the next one will be right around the same time what we do elections, so you'll hear from candidates as well for the EC at that time. Maximizing membership sessions, we're going to bring back those, and working with Casey Harris on the staff. The first one's going to be on April 14th, and it's going to be aligned with the Small Business Alliance event that day, which is the networking and teaming mixer. You'll hear more about that from Lisa Martin when she talks about the SBA. And then membership testimonials, we've been capturing those. We're going to make those a valuable marketing tool. I'm sure John is going to be excited about using those, right? Whether on the website and for other purposes. The SBA, I'll leave that to Lisa to talk more about the great things they're doing and what Jeff Shen is doing as the chair of that organization. And then lastly, Mark Samblane and the staff have done a phenomenal job in rejuvenating the website and making it a repository of information for you, the members. Keep giving feedback. Your feedback is what's helped allow it to grow to this point. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes infrastructure challenges that were there to get it to this point, but we're continuing to improve it as an organization, and we want your feedback on that as well. So I'm going to hand off to Paul. He'll talk about more of the membership, recruitment, and retention activities.
Thanks, Ryan. All right. Well, I was glad to see so many people here and so many familiar faces in the audience today. It's all about getting people out here and being a part of ACT IAC and the great things we do to make government better. So one of the things we're engaging in, it's been in some time, but we're actually going to do a membership survey. So be looking for that in the near future. We're going to survey and ask for you to answer some questions and give us some feedback so that we can look to improve and be better and make sure we're giving the services to the members that you want to see in this organization. So stand by for that. It's coming up in the near term and should be a very good opportunity to get everybody's input. Secondly, we are having these recruitment and retention breakfasts. The next one is April 27th, and it's really, as Dave mentioned, a way to get some new prospects here to learn about ACT IAC and talk about the value proposition that we have as an organization, and also to bring some new members in for them to comment on their experience that they've had in a new entree into this great organization. So for new members, look at that as well. Finally, or next to last, we have renewals. So for those of you that are the POCs for the IAC side, your invoices have been sent out and the renewals are due. So Bob Suit over here, our treasurer, he's looking for those bills to come in. So if you have some effect on that, just you might want to check on it and make sure that those renewals are coming in. And if they're not, then the executive committee, Dave and Brian and others in the audience will be reaching out to companies and making sure that everything is still good and you're still appreciating the value of the organization. And then finally, I really encourage all of you to look around in the industry. There's software companies, there's services companies, there's small companies, there's large companies, and we want our membership to be healthy and to grow. So please offer up some referrals. If you run into somebody in a teaming discussion and you talk about ACT IAC and they don't know what it is, send them over to Brian and April or I, and we'll be sure to see if we can bring them into the fold here. So with that, I'll turn it over to our next speaker, and that's Malcolm and Mitzi.
Thank you. I'll stand up here. Show everybody the outfit. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. And I'm going to be on pinch patrol today, so it's the only day that you can actually legally kind of accost people without getting in trouble. So I'm Mitzi Mead, and this is Malcolm Harden. We are the board members in charge of professional development. Professional development, of course, is our foundational program. The associates, our mid-level program, the Voyagers, and then our senior program, the partners. Then we have the alumni network called the Fellows. So what we're going to do is just talk a little bit, just give you a little bit of update right now. Oh, I've got to do the slide, don't I? Okay. And how do I do that? Green, and it's a green button too. Okay, one of the things we want to talk about is the Voyagers program. These programs run in cycles. The associates and the partners have been recently chosen, and I've got a slide of those. I'll actually list those guys here in a little bit. But so right now what we're doing, the associates and the partners are ongoing. The Voyagers are getting ready to graduate, so now we got to get the next Voyagers class. So the professional development is a constant stream of activity. So what we want to do is do a little bit of promotion on the Voyagers, so you know what kind of who should be a Voyager and when the application is going to go out. First off, before I start, can I get my fellows to stand? If you're an IAC fellow, will you stand? Right. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. And of course, Malcolm and I are fellows. Do I have any current Voyagers here? Any current Voyagers or current partners? No? Okay, or current associates. Oh, darn. None of the guys. Associate, yay! All right. Okay, so we're going to be, the Voyagers class is the mid-level program. It's 24, we usually select 24 participants. That's half government and half industry. When you graduate from the Voyagers program and from the Partners program, you roll into the alumni network, which is called the Fellows. And you saw how many fellows we have here today. We have over 800 fellows now, and half of those are government and half are industry. It's a great organization. That Fellows Alumni Association has its own setup of chairs, and we have events that we do each year for those fellows. So let me just tell you some of the benefits of the Voyagers. Anyway, first of all, does anybody know right now if they're going to either apply for Voyagers or put forward a Voyager candidate? Can I see some hands? I'm hoping I see some hands. Okay, great. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. We're up here recruiting. All right. So the benefits of the Voyagers, we're going to do benefits, expectations, and criteria really quickly. You get an increased understanding of government. You're building trusted relationships. You have open and ethical dialogue. It's leadership and career development. It's going to increase corporate and personal visibility. And then it's lifetime membership to this established alumni network called the Fellows. So what are the expectations? The expectations are that these people attend all the events. The events are mandatory. That they behave ethically. That they have active participation. They don't just show up. We want people to really be active and give us their thought processes. That their organizations support them and allow them to go to these events and give them the time they need for this and make it a priority. That these people are ready for upward mobility. We want movers and shakers. We want people that are going to that will be in this industry, stay in this industry, and try to affect change in this industry. We also, we want them to promote collaboration, cooperation, diversity, and partnerships. Now, what's the criteria if somebody's going to apply for a Voyager? They need to be mid-level professional, experienced in a broad range of business activities, federal IT savvy, willing to dedicate up to 3 days per month, and then there's a government fee. Also, from the industry side, we say about 6 to 13 years of experience, and that's just kind of a gauge because the government side are GS 11s to 13s. So, does anybody have any questions about the Voyagers? I think it's pretty straightforward. We are going to get ready to do the applications for Voyagers. For leadership, we're going to call for leadership. All of these classes have 6 leaders, 3 government and 3 industry, 2 chairs and 4 vice chairs. So we're making a call for the fellows that are out there. If you're interested in leadership positions, please apply. You don't have to be a fellow to apply. If you think you would like to be a leader, we do take people from outside. I think, Sanjay, you were, when you were at FERC, you had never been a partner when you became a partner vice chair. So think about that. We're going to put it out first to the fellows, and then I think next week you'll see it, the regular membership will actually see the opportunity. So if you have any questions about that, talk to Malcolm or I afterwards. The Voyagers applications are going to go out a little bit early this year, April 18th. Then for the fellows, we're having our 2nd annual meeting on April 27th. That's kind of a state of the union for the fellows, where we talk about everything going on with the program and all the volunteer opportunities. We had a great speaker. We had a really good event last year, so we're expecting to have a good turnout for that. That's one of our big events. And then the fellows reception at Mock. We always have a fellows reception prior to ELC. We're going to add one at Mock this year, so if you're going to Mock and you're a fellow, please make sure that you come to that reception. Then here are our 2016 partners. I'm just going to leave them up here just for a second so you can kind of look down the list. I do want to recognize, I know Brian Kendrick is here. He is the chair. Brian, if you just want to stand up and just say hi. Is anybody else? Do we have any other chairs? I don't see Kim or Simone. So anyway, it's a lot. The chairs and vice chairs do a lot of work. So those are our current 2016 partners. And these are our 2016 associates. Do we have any? And we had 1 associate. And that's all we had. So professional development's very busy. It's great for your career. I think it's the best thing I ever did. I was a partner in 2001. It's the best thing I ever did career-wise. And then I stayed. I was a partner, and then I stayed involved throughout my career. So thank you very much, and we hope to see those Voyagers applications. Let us know if you have any questions.
Okay, so how many of you are small businesses? I'll ask it again. Oh, I'm not going to make fun of you. How many of you are small businesses? Raise your hands. Okay. So I'm assuming the rest are large. You are all invited to some of our events coming up here. I'm Lisa Martin. I am on the executive committee as well, and we are looking forward to getting even more companies participating in the events. How many of you just went to their Straight Talk series right before here? Here we go. We're going to be having more of those coming up as well. So to start, some of the events that are coming up now are, the one that was just added was the one on March 29th. This is going to be our first webinar. And I also want to make sure, Jeff Shen, if you can stand up. So Jeff is our chair for the Small Business Alliance and has been doing a wonderful, wonderful job. So the Debunking the Myth, What You Need to Know About Women-Owned Small Business Certification webinar, this is going to be with Alexandra Piotrowski, and she is with the Small Business Administration. This is going to be 1 to 2 p.m., and this is our first webinar. It is free to everyone. The second one, the April 14th, some of you may have heard April 7th before. We had to have a date change, but April 14th is our networking mixer, and it's going to be at my office at Leapfrog Solutions. Again, both small and large are welcome. We do this thing called speed dating, and as Brian had also mentioned, we will be doing a Maximizing Our Membership event there as well. And to give you an idea, I think when Jeff and I were at the first one that was held, every business, whether they were small or large, stood up and said something they were working on and looking for a company that they may need. So for instance, he was actually looking for a company that had a communications background. So of course I went up to Jeff afterwards. Other companies were looking for 8A firms. Some of the large were looking for 8A, hub zones. So it's important for not only the small businesses to come so we can network with each other, but the large businesses, especially if you're looking for a particular opportunity, skill set, or a small business set-aside teaming partner. Lastly, on April 27th, our Straight Talk series, which we had just had today. Next one is featuring Jolene Merkel, who is with the FAA. She is also a fellow as well, too. So really excited to have her on board. And I noticed that Casey took the register. Email Casey? No? I had email Casey Harris, which is C. Harris. It's probably on the next one. There we go. So if you have any questions, even for the free events, please register so we have an idea of head count, how many people are going to be attending. Some of the Small Business Alliance projects, so we work in tandem with regard to the Treasury White Paper. I know a lot of you are involved in the category management programs. We have a category management project. Again, Casey Harris, if any of you are interested in this, and the shared services projects. So for all of you who can see in the bottom here, C. Harris at actiac.org, and she's standing. Raise your hand since you're standing already. So yeah, she's wearing green. Yeah, that's a dead giveaway. So please, if you're interested in getting involved, we'd love to have more of you involved. And Casey has just been such a great asset for us. Lastly, some of the other announcements. As you had heard, we are also looking for leadership. We'd love to keep Jeff on board forever and ever. He's saying no, but he'll be in good hands. You'll definitely be in good hands with Jeff. So we're going to be looking for a chair for next year, again, starting July 1, vice chairs of our projects, as well as the vice chairs of programming and events. And then we, too, have nominations. They opened yesterday? They opened yesterday. And so we have 2 awards, one for industry and one for government. And again, the criteria here are for individuals who've demonstrated exceptional advocacy for small business. So again, please, we welcome all nominations. And lastly, how to get involved. Again, if you didn't hear me the first time, Casey Harris, C. Harris at actiac.org. We also have her phone number, so extension 225. And then make sure you respond to any of the links in the surveys that we'll be sending out as well. Casey, do you have anything you want to add? Okay. And did I do it in 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes? Okay, I tried to speak fast. So next, Stephen? Thank you.